With over 10 million followers, brand deals pouring in, and a lifestyle envied by millions, Tenny Adewale seemed to have it all. Her world revolved around the glitz and glamour of TikTok fame. But behind the perfectly curated videos was a woman whose obsession with the spotlight would lead to heartbreak and a devastating realization. Tenny Adewale was the queen of TikTok in Nigeria. She is known for her stunning looks, flawless dance moves, and aspirational lifestyle content. She was Nigeria's sweetheart on social media. Every outfit she wore, every makeup product she reviewed, and every dance challenge she posted gained millions of views and likes. Tenny had sponsors knocking down her door, and she was raking in money faster than she could spend it. To her followers, Tenny was living the dream, but behind the ring light and perfect filters was a young woman who had tied her self-worth to the adoration of strangers online. To Tenny, fame wasn't just a career, it was her identity. At the height of her fame, Tenny was untouchable. She was the epitome of success, beautiful, admired, and financially independent. Marriage was the last thing on her mind, especially when her brand revolved around her image as a free-spirited single woman living her best life. Her followers idolized her confidence, her beauty, and her unapologetic ambition. To Tenny, relationships were a distraction, a potential threat to the empire she had built from scratch. Then she met Wale. Wale Adebayo was everything Tenny wasn't looking for. A financial analyst in his early 30s, he was grounded, practical, and far removed from the glittering world of social media. He was handsome in a quiet and unassuming way, with a deep voice that made Tenny feel strangely at ease. They met at a corporate gala where Tenny had been invited as an influencer to promote a luxury brand. Wale had been there for work, mingling with executives and clients. He noticed her immediately, not because of her fame, but because of the way she lit up the room with her presence. Unlike the other guests, he didn't rush to take a selfie or ask her about her latest TikTok trend. Instead, he approached her with a genuine curiosity. "You are Tenny, right?" he asked. His tone was calm and confident. She nodded, already accustomed to fans and admirers. "Yeah, that's me. And you are Wale." "I have no idea how you managed to smile in so many pictures without it looking fake." "That's a skill," Wale said with a teasing grin. Tenny laughed, caught off guard by his directness. For the first time in years, she found herself intrigued by someone who wasn't trying to impress her. Tenny enjoyed his company, but she kept him at arm's length. She didn't want to lose focus. Yet, Wale's steady presence began to chip away at the walls she had built around her heart. He listened when she spoke about the pressures of being an influencer. He made her laugh when she felt overwhelmed. And most importantly, he never tried to compete with her fame. Wale wasn't interested in her followers. He was interested in her. Despite her reservations, Tenny fell for him. Wale, however, wasn't blind to her priorities. He noticed how she would interrupt their date to film content or check her notifications. He saw how her mood depended on her follower count or the success of her latest video. But he convinced himself that once they were married, things would change. He believed that love could temper her obsession. After months of persuasion, Wale convinced her to marry him, but Tenny laid her boundaries clear from the start. Her content creation came first. Wale hoped she would eventually soften, but he underestimated just how deep her obsession ran. When Wale brought up having children, Tenny resisted fiercely. "Do you want to ruin my body? My brand depends on how I look," she snapped one night. "But what about building a family? Isn't that important to you?" Wale asked. Wale, I already have a family. My followers, Tenny replied, dismissing the conversation entirely. From the beginning, their marriage was an adjustment. Wale wanted Sunday mornings spent cooking and eating breakfast together. Tenny wanted Sunday morning filming trendy dances in their living room. Wale suggested quiet date nights. Tenny would bring her phone, capturing every meal for her followers. He found it difficult to share intimate moments with her when her world was constantly filtered through a screen. Tenny, can we just have one evening without the camera? He asked one night as they sat in a cozy restaurant. It's not just the camera, Wale. It's my work. Do you think I got to 10 million followers by ignoring my audience? She snapped, scrolling through her comment. Wale sighed, pushing his plate away. It feels like there is no space for me in your life, Tenny. It's always about your followers. That's unfair, she said, her eyes still glued to her phone. They're a part of my life too. Despite her resistance, Tenny became pregnant a year into their marriage. She was furious at first, blaming Wale for pressuring her. I'll lose followers if they know I am pregnant. They'll think I am boring, she cried. Wale tried to comfort her. You don't have to hide this, Tenny. Your followers will love seeing this new chapter of your life. But Tenny didn't listen. For months, she meticulously hid her pregnancy, posting old videos and carefully angling her shots to conceal her growing bump. Only Wale and her close family knew the truth. When their daughter, Ayomide, was born, Wale was overjoyed. He imagined that motherhood would soften Tenny and give her a new perspective. But nothing changed. Tenny continued creating content as if nothing had happened. She snapped back to her pre-baby figure in record time, flaunting her body online while downplaying her role as a mother. Wale took on the brunt of parenting duties. He fed Ayomide, bathed her, and comforted her through long nights of crying. Ayomide barely recognized Tenny as her mother. When Wale left for work, the baby would cry inconsolably, only stopping when he returned. Meanwhile, Tenny was oblivious. She saw Wale's frustration as an attack on her freedom. Why can't you just support me? She would yell whenever he pointed out Ayomide's soiled nappy or a lack of attention to their daughter. I do support you, Tenny, but this isn't just about you anymore. Ayomide needs her mother. You are controlling, she snapped. My followers understand me. Maybe you should try it too. And Tenny's followers did take her side. She often vented about Wale online, painting him as a controlling husband who didn't appreciate her success. Her fans rallied behind her, sending her messages of support and validation. One fateful afternoon, Tenny decided to host a TikTok live session in the kitchen. She planned to cook asaro, yam pottage, while interacting with her followers. A perfect way to mix lifestyle content with her bubbly personality. She set up her phone, adjusted her ring light, and began streaming. Thousands of viewers tuned in, showering her with comments and likes. She basked in the attention, answering questions and showing off her cooking skills. Meanwhile, Ayomide, who is now a curious toddler, crawled out of the living room where she had been left with a few toys. Unnoticed by her mother, she made her way into the kitchen, drawn by the sounds and smells. As Tenny poured boiling water into a pot of yam, she turned slightly to check her phone. In her distraction, she didn't see Ayomide toddling near her legs. When she stepped back, she accidentally knocked the pot, spilling hot water everywhere. A piercing scream shattered the air. Tenny whipped around to see Ayomide on the floor, clutching her ham and crying in pain. The comment on her live stream exploded with confusion and concern as Tenny dropped her phone and rushed to her daughter. Oh my God, Ayomide, she screamed, tears streaming down her face. Wale arrived home minutes later to find the chaos. Ayomide was crying uncontrollably, Her arm red and blistered. Tenny was frantic, but Wale was furious. What happened? He demanded. I didn't see her. I didn't see her, Tenny stammered. She crawled into the kitchen while I was... She crawled into the kitchen While you were what? Filming another TikTok? Wale roared. Is this what it takes for you to pay attention? For Ayomide to get hurt? At the hospital, the doctor confirmed that Ayomide had suffered first-degree burns. She'll heal, but this could have been much worse, he said. His voice was very sharp with disapproval. Wale didn't speak to Tenny on the way home. That night, he packed a bag. I am taking Ayomide to my mother's house, he said coldly. You clearly can't be trusted with her. Tenny was stunned. Adewale, you can't do this. She's my daughter too. Is she? Because from where I'm standing, TikTok is your real priority, he snapped. When you decide to grow up and be a mother, let me know. Until then, Ayomide deserves better. Left alone in the now quiet house, Tenny felt the weight of her choices. She picked up her phone to distract herself, but found her notifications filled with backlash. Someone had clipped the moment Ayomide screamed and posted it online. Comments flooded in, accusing her of being a negligent mother. For the first time, Tenny didn't feel validated by her followers. Instead, she felt exposed. She stared at the screen, her reflection ghostly in the darkened room. What have I become? She thought. Her pursuit of fame had cost her everything: her husband, her child, and her sense of self. In the weeks that followed, Tenny tried to reach out to Wale, but he remained distant. She stopped posting on TikTok and began seeing a therapist, desperate to understand why she had let her life spiral out of control. Slowly, she started working on herself, determined to rebuild her family and her priorities. But trust is hard to earn back, and Wale remained skeptical. The question lingered. Was Tenny's realization too late to fix the damage she had caused? Some obsessions come at a price that is too high. For Tenny, the pursuit of fame blinded her to what truly mattered, until it was almost too late. Let her story be a lesson. Sometimes, the things we chase can cost us everything. Focus on what is important. Thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Thank you for your support. See you with the next one.